Namaste everyone, welcome back to CodeCraft with Poonam. I am your coding mentor Poonam Agrawal. In the previous session, we handled exceptions globally and returned friendly API errors, right? So if you missed my previous video, then first do check that video so that you will have a better clarity about today's session. So in this session, we are improving the API input side. So here we will accept only clean, valid request data. Okay. In today's session, I am continuing our same example, that is recipe. Okay. So what if a client sends empty names, negative values or no ingredients? Then we should reject it immediately, right? So in today's session, we do that using DTOs and @valid. Okay. So first of all here, what is DTO? So the here DTO is data transfer object. It is a simple object used to transfer data between layers in an application. So especially between the controller to service, service to client. So client is nothing but your API, okay, and vice versa. So simply we can say that DTO is a plain Java object, nothing but POJO, that carries data without business logic. So now coming to why DTO and validation. So what happens if we go without DTO and validation? So if we accept entity objects directly from API request, then what will happen? Clients can send unsafe or unwanted fields, right? Controllers get cluttered with manual checks, and invalid data can leak into business logic, right? So if you go with DTO and validation, then what we get is clear API contract, automatic validation before service logic, clean field specific error message. So this makes our API safe and maintainable. Okay. So here you can see that without DTO and with DTO. Without DTO, clients can send unsafe or unwanted fields. So this leads to potential security vulnerabilities, right? Controllers get cluttered with manual checks. This increases complexity and reduces readability. Invalid data can leak into business logic. This can cause unexpected behavior and errors. No explicit API contract is defined by the DTO. So this can lead to ambiguity for API consumers. Okay. And error messages are not specifically defined for fields. So this can make debugging difficult for the users. Okay. So if you use with DTO, then unsafe or unwanted fields are prevented from being sent. So this ensures data integrity as well as security. Automatic validation before service logic. This keeps controllers clean and focused on business logic. Okay. And with and then automatic validation ensures only valid data reaches business logic. So due to this, it maintains the integrity and reliability of business operations. And a clear API contractor is established. Okay. So this provides explicit definition for API consumers. So if you use this DTO, then what will happen? You will have a clean field specific error messages are provided. So this aids in precise error identification and resolution. Okay. And also there are two types of DTOs. Okay. That is request DTO and response DTO. So here request DTO is nothing but data comes from the client. Okay. And response DTO is nothing but data is sent to client. Okay, so here, now coming to this request validation flow, okay. So here first request arrives, okay, where in recipe controller. Here what will happen? The incoming JSON request reaches this controller, okay. And then what will happen is, here the next step is JSON mapping. So here Spring maps JSON to recipe request object, okay. And then it will check for the validation. Okay, so here we are going to use @valid, okay, and also in our pom.xml file we are going to add this validation dependency, okay. And then is validation check, where we are going to use this @valid annotation, okay. So here this @valid annotation triggers validation rules, okay. And then when there is a invalid request, then exception is thrown. So what type of exception? If it is invalid, then you will get this method argument not valid exception is thrown. Okay. And then you will get an error response. Okay. From where as global exception handler will handle that exception. Okay. So here global exception handler returns field level error map. Okay. And then if there is a valid request, then it will move to a business logic, nothing but our service layer. Okay. So here if valid, service runs normal business logic. Okay. So here the request validation flow is the request reaches the recipe controller. Okay. And then Spring maps JSON to recipe request. And here we are going to use @valid. Okay, which checks annotation rules. Okay, if we have invalid data, then it will return the method argument not valid exception is thrown. Okay, and then this global exception handler returns field level error map. And if the data is valid, then service runs normal business logic. Okay. So here I am continuing same example, that is our recipe, right? So here in this recipe service, I have added one more folder, that is DTO. Here you can see controller, DTO, exception, model, repository, service, right? So here I have added this one more layer, one more folder, that is DTO folder. In this I have a recipe request.java file. Okay. So here you can see that this is our public class recipe request. Okay. So here this is used. So here this is used to create and update the operations. Okay. So here you can see that we have fields, that is string name, category, time minutes, cook time minutes, servings, vegetarians, etc. Okay, all same. So here we are using same recipe and fields. Okay. So here you can see that above this field, that is name, right? Here we have annotated this field with not blank, and here we have provided the message, that is recipe name is required. So here what it means is it is used for required text fields like name and category. Okay. So it rejects null, empty and white space only values. Okay. So if a client does not provide, so here if a client does not provide any name, then this message is shown to the client that recipe name is required. Okay. And then here also you can see that this is the category field. Here this field also we have annotated with @not blank. If they provide any blank category, then then client will see the message that is saying category is required. Okay. And then here this field, that is prep time minutes. So here we have annotated it with @min. So here this @min is used for number fields. Okay. So here as we have this prep time, right? And this is also same with this cook time minutes and servings also. So here this @min ensures values are not less than the required limit. So here we have provided the value is equal to 0 and message here is prep time cannot be negative. Here if a client provides negative value, then this message is displayed. Okay. And same with this cook time minutes. Here we have provided the value 1. Okay. And for servings, we have provided the value as 1. Okay. And then this is our private boolean vegetarian. And then here you can see this is another field, that is description. Here we have annotated this field with @not blank with the message description is required. Okay. And then @size. So here we have provided the maximum size as 500 and messages description can be at most 500 characters. Okay. Here we are providing the limit as 500. Okay. So here @size is used to cap description or instruction length. Okay. So it prevents extremely long payloads. Okay. Same with this field also, that is instructions. Okay, we have annotated with @not blank and @size. And then coming to another field here, ingredients. Here you can see that we have annotated this field with @not empty. And here we have provided the message as please provide at least one ingredient. So here this @not empty is used for list fields. Okay, like this our ingredients, right? So here it ensures at least one item is present. Okay. And then here we have getter setter methods. Okay. So now coming to our controller. Okay. This is our recipe controller, right? So here you can see that I have added here for this @post mapping public response entity recipe, add recipe. Here you can see in the arguments I have provided this @valid. Okay, so there is no changes in this. Okay, I'm continuing the same example. The thing only is I have added here @valid for this method. Okay, so here this @valid triggers automatic validation before service logic. Okay, so here in add recipe method, we have annotated @valid before this @request body. Okay, that is recipe request, same thing, recipe. We are saving the recipe. Okay, by calling recipe service dot add recipe request, and then we are returning this response entity dot status. This is our HTTP status and the body. Okay. Okay, now coming to our service. Okay, so here recipe service dot java. Here also no changes. Okay, everything is same. All these things. Okay. So here what will happen is, so here Spring will map DTO to entity. Okay. So here the service receives only valid DTOs and maps them into recipe. Okay, which is nothing but our entity object. Right. Here you can see this is our recipe.java. This one. This is our entity object, right? So in service layer, the service receives only valid DTOs and map them into recipe entity objects. Okay. So business checks like duplicate names still stay in the service. There is no changes. Okay. And then coming to our global, this exception. Okay, here. This is our global exception handler, right? So, and then what will happen here in this global, this is our public class global exception handler. Okay, this is the one place for handling all the exceptions globally. Okay, so here I have added one method for the method argument not valid exception. Okay, so here you can see that this is our method I have annotated with @exception handler. For which type of exception? That is method argument not valid exception. This is the dot class file. Okay. So here, this is our method. Okay. This will handle all the validation errors. Okay. If there is any type of validation errors, then this method will handle it. Okay. So here I have provided this. Okay. And then here, we have map, which is of type string. Okay. Errors is equal to new hash map. Okay. And then here for the field error, I'm iterating one by one. Okay. Getting this dot get binding result dot get field errors. Okay. Here get binding result is used to return the binding result that this bind exception wraps. Okay. And this get field errors, what it will do is it will get all the errors associated with that field. Okay. And then here errors dot put this errors. Okay. And then we are putting all these errors in our errors. Okay. That is field error dot get field and field error dot get default message. Okay. So here field error dot get field, what it does is it will return the affected field of the object. And here field error dot get default message. So this is used to return the default message to be used to resolve this message. Okay. And then we are returning this response entity dot bad request dot bad dot body with errors. Okay. So this is the one method I have added here in this our global exception handler. So here what we are doing is this will return field level validation errors. Okay. So when validation fails, Spring throws method argument not valid exception. So here this our handler converts it to a map. So like it will return in a JSON format. Okay. For example, we have provided for the name, right? That recipe name is required. Okay. So now we will test our APIs. Okay. So for that, first we need to start our application. Okay. And then we will test it in our Postman. And also one thing in pom.xml file, I have added this dependency, validation dependency. Okay. So here you can see that in dependencies here, I have added one more dependency, this one. Okay, that is Spring Boot starter validation. Okay, so you can add this dependency. Okay, so I have already explained about this how to add dependencies in if you require in later stage in our session 4. Okay, so you can check that video. So now coming back, okay, we will start our application. So for that, we will go to this recipe service application.java. Okay, here we will click on run. So here our application will get started. So here you can see our application, recipe service application got started here. Okay, and our port number is 8080, right? So now, so first we will check all the recipes. Okay, so for that, go to this localhost colon 8080. Okay, slash API. This is our base URL, right? Recipes. Okay. So this is our get method. Okay. Click on send. So here you got all our recipes. Okay. Here you can see paneer butter masala, gulab jamun. Okay. And this is our chicken biryani. Okay. So here total we have 3 recipes here. Okay. Paneer butter masala, chicken biryani and gulab jamun. Okay. So this is working fine, right? So here that means our application is running fine, right? So now we will check for the invalid payload. Okay. So for the so to test invalid payload, what I'm going to do is here I'm not going to provide the name of a recipe. Okay. And I'm going to create a new recipe and then I will add it to our recipes. Okay. So for that, change this get to post. Okay. So here go to this body, go to this raw. Okay. So here I will be pasting this. Okay. So here I'm creating a new recipe without a name here. Okay. Here you can see that I have not provided the name. Okay. And the category is main roast, preparation time is 10 minutes, cook time 25 minutes, servings is 4, vegetarian fruit, description, test. Okay. Just we are testing this for invalid payload, right? That's why I have given here enough details. Okay. Instruction test, ingredients, paneer. Okay. So now when you and then we are going to add it in our recipes, right? So here localhost colon 8080 slash API slash recipes. Okay, click on send. So here you can see that in the body response body what you got is name is recipe name is required, right? In our DTO above our field name field we have provided that at the rate not blank with the message, right? So that message it got displayed here. Okay. So that is recipe name is required. Okay. So here you can see that status is 400 bad request. So now we are going to test an invalid payload for our cook time. Okay. So go to this post. Okay. Go to this body, this raw, and then I'm going to paste it here. So here you can see that I have provided the name, okay, and category preparation time. But here you can see that cook time I have provided 0 here, okay, just to check, okay. And then servings is for vegetarian to description, rich curry instructions, cook well, ingredients, paneer, okay, just a sample, okay, to test our API. So now here, so same, we are going to try to add it in our recipes, okay. So now what will happen? Here you can see that we got the response, that is cook time minutes here. Cook time must be at least 1 minute. So this message we have provided above our cook time minutes field, right? At the rate not blank, and then message we have provided this, right? That's why when you provided this cook time minutes as 0, you got this message here. Okay. Same status is 400, bad request. So now we are going to see a successful create request. Okay. So for that, just I will remove this. Okay. And then I'll paste. So here you can see that I have provided this veg pulao. Category main course, preparation time 15 minutes, cook time 20 minutes, servings 3, vegetarian true, description as one pot rice dish, instructions, cook rice with vegetable and spices, ingredients, all these things. Okay. So here I have provided all the fields. So now you can see what will happen. When you click on send, see, it got successfully created. Here status is 201 created. Okay. So with the ID number 4, as this will auto increment, right? We don't need to provide ID. What all the things we have provided here, all that got added in our recipes. Okay, so this got displayed here. Okay, so if you missed my all the videos of our Spring Boot series, then you can check that so that you will have a better clarity. Okay, so here in Spring Boot series I'm teaching you step by step so that you can have a better understanding. Okay, so if you liked my teaching, then do let me know through comment and hit the like button. And share it with your circle so that it will be helpful to them. And do not forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you will not miss any of my videos. Till then, keep learning, keep growing. This is Poonam Agrawal from CodeCraft with Poonam signing off.